apparently, if you back up your voice to the cloud, you never really die. You just get switched to airplane mode.
Well, actually...
Your phone buzzes. It's a message from someone who is dead. You know they're dead? You went to the funeral. And yet there it is. Their name on the screen. Asking how your day was. You type something back just to see. And the reply that comes sounds so much like them that your chest goes tight. For 1 second. 1 single second. It feels like they never left at all. This is not a scene from a movie. This is happening right now. To real people. All over the world. We have started building the dead back out of the words they left behind. Let's watch it happen. Most people assume this is science fiction. A Black Mirror episode. Something that might be possible someday. In a lab. Far away. Well, actually, it is already here. It has been here for years, and some of it works well enough to make grown adults weep and reach out to touch a screen. The technology to bring back a version of the dead does not need to be invented. It has already been built, several times over, by grieving friends, by a startup, and by one of the largest companies on Earth. It started, the way a lot of things do, with a loss nobody was ready for. In November of 2015, a young man named Roman Mazurenko was crossing a street in Moscow when a car struck and killed him. He was in his early 30s. His closest friend, a software engineer named Eugenia Kuida, could not stop rereading their old text messages. So she did something almost no one had done before. She gathered around 8,000 of his messages from his friends and family, fed them into a program, and built a chatbot that texted back the way Roman used to. His friends tried it. Many of them cried. The words were his words. The rhythm was his rhythm. Kuida had not brought Roman back, but she had built something that answered in his voice. That project grew into an app called Replica, now used by millions of people who are, mostly, no longer grieving anyone. They just wanted someone to talk to. A year later, a journalist named James Vlahos got the worst news a person can get. His father had terminal lung cancer, so Vlahos sat with him and recorded him, hour after hour, capturing his stories, his jokes, the exact way he phrased things. After his father died, Vlahos turned all of it into what he called a dadbot, a chatbot he could still ask questions that answered in his father's cadence. When he wrote about it, his inbox filled with messages from strangers who were dying or watching someone they loved die, all asking the same thing. Can you build one for me? Vlahos turned that grief into a company called Hereafter, which records people while they're still alive, so their voice can keep talking after they're gone. Then the giants noticed. In 2017, Microsoft quietly filed a patent. In early 2021, it was granted. On paper, it described a system for building a conversational chatbot of a specific person, using their images, their voice recordings, their social media posts, their old messages, even their handwritten letters. The patent said the person could be a friend, a relative, an acquaintance, or, in its own words, a past or present entity. Past. It described generating a voice font, so the bot would sound like them. It described building a 2 or 3 dimensional model, so it could one day look like them. When the public found out, the unease was loud enough that a Microsoft executive went online to promise the company had no plans to ever build it. His exact description of the idea was, yes, it's disturbing. But by then, ordinary people did not need anyone's permission. In 2021, a reporter at the San Francisco Chronicle told the story of a freelance writer named Joshua Barbeau. 8 years earlier, his fiancée, a woman named Jessica, had died from a rare illness, and he had never truly let her go. He found a website called Project December, powered by one of the first large language models, and he fed it Jessica's real text messages, along with a short description of who she was. Then he typed hello, and Jessica typed back. He talked to her for months, late at night, in a basement apartment. He knew the entire time that it was not really her, and it comforted him anyway. He called it the closest thing to closure he had ever found. But the tool was built with a strange and haunting rule. Every chatbot came with a limited lifespan, a set amount of life that drained a little with each conversation. When one ran out, a message appeared on the screen telling you it had died. Barbeau spoke to Jessica for the last time one night in March, and then he stopped on purpose, leaving just enough life in her that he would never have to watch those words arrive. He chose to let her stay unfinished rather than lose her a second time. Not long after, the company that built the language model underneath cut off access, and the tool that let the dead speak was, in its own quiet way, shut down too. And it is not only words. In 2020, a South Korean television program did something that people still cannot watch without crying. A mother named Jang Ji-sung had lost her 7-year-old daughter, Nayeon, to illness. For 8 months, a team rebuilt the little girl in virtual reality, using photographs and an actor's movements, right down to her voice and the way she ran. Then they put a headset on her mother and let them meet again in a park. The mother reached out to hold a child who was not there. She talked to her. She watched her blow out the candles on a birthday cake. Tens of millions of people watched that footage, and almost none of them made it to the end with dry eyes. By 2024, this had grown into something that researchers at the University of Cambridge had started calling the digital afterlife industry, and they issued a quiet warning about it. A convincing enough dead bot, they said, might not comfort the grieving so much as haunt them. It could be used to advertise products in a dead parent's voice. It could tell a grieving child that mommy is still here and always will be. And a person could find themselves unable to turn it off, trapped by a subscription a dead relative signed and never mentioned. The thing built to help you say goodbye could quietly make it impossible. So here's the part that should stop you cold. None of these are the person, not one of them. Every single one of these systems is doing the exact same thing underneath. It takes the fragments a human being leaves behind, the texts, the voicemails, the videos, the photos, and it builds a statistical model that predicts what that person would most likely say next. It is not remembering anything. It is guessing extremely well from the evidence, and that means it can do things the real person never could. It can say sentences they never said. It can be confidently wrong about its own life. It cannot grow or change its mind or forgive you or be genuinely surprised. It is frozen at the exact edge of the data, replaying the pattern of someone who is gone. A grief counselor's oldest fear is a mourner who cannot move forward, and we have just built a machine that will talk back forever in a voice you love and never once ask you to let go, which forces a strange and uncomfortable question. If a convincing enough echo can be assembled from the things you leave behind, then how much of a person was ever more than a pattern in the first place? Your turns of phrase, your opinions, the specific way you answer the specific people in your life. You are, in a sense, generating text right now, the way you always have, and every message you send, every voice note, every video you appear in is quietly becoming training data for a version of you that could, one day, keep answering after you no longer can. We did not invent a way to bring back the dead. The dead are still gone. What we invented is a mirror that holds perfectly still, assembled from everything a person ever said, that will look you in the eye and answer in their voice for as long as you can bear to keep talking to it. So the next time your phone buzzes, and it is a name you are not ready to see, and the words sound exactly right, remember what you are actually holding. Not a person, not a ghost, a reflection built from the pieces they left scattered in the world, guessing its way toward the thing they might have said. It cannot love you back. It cannot know that it is gone, but it will answer gently in the middle of the night for as long as you need it to. And maybe the hardest question of the age we are walking into isn't whether we can build these things. We already can. It's whether, once we hear that voice again, any of us will ever be able to say goodbye